insurance agent, Marilyn Hildred. Marilyn, say if you have some insurance problems, please call her at 843-0811, or you may call at home anytime, 427-8399. Today's program is very excited, and I want to tell you that the state is holding an NACP meeting in Oklahoma City at Freedom Center and Johnson Jardina's Daycare Center number 2. Now, those of you that are coming in town, and last night, a representative from Louisiana, one from Baltimore, one from Texas arrived in Oklahoma City, and people are expecting others to arrive. I just talked to Mr. Roosevelt Milton, the president of the senior branch of NACP, and he asked me to tell you to be sure and support the state. Let's show what kind of state we are. Now, those of you that are driving in, we want you to park in Johnson Jardina's Daycare's parking lot. Do not park in front of the monument. Park in front of the daycare center where the meeting will be held, but dinner will be served at Freedom Center, 2609 North Martin Luther King. The meeting will be at 2611 North Martin Luther King. Now, it's exciting. It's required by the president of NACP that all elected NACP officials will be present. Now, dinner will be served at Freedom Center starting at 11:45, and the cost of the dinner is $6. And we would like to invite those of you that are hungry to come and eat with us. This is the day that we have seen a lot of celebrations, and we participated and marched from Calvary to downtown. And it has been a long march for us because we've been marching in a parade for years and years, and I would like to thank all of you that was so kind to wave at me and say, "Hi, Mrs. Luper." Thank you so very kindly, and I really do appreciate it. And certainly, I know you appreciate the NACP Youth Council because as we march, we ask a question: who integrated Oklahoma City? And the answer was very clear. It was the NACP because everybody knows that the NACP did the Emma Freeman case. The NACP did the Ada Loy Scipia case that opened Oklahoma University and other universities. NACP did the Emily Freeman case that gave Emily Freeman's case that gave black teachers the same pay as white teachers. Everybody knows that it was the NACP that opened public accommodations. It's no wonder then that people are joining the NACP and are supporting the NACP. It was the NACP that fought. Now, somebody asked me yesterday, say, "Clara, why is it that you're a member of the NACP?" I said, "You're asking the wrong question. You are just like me. I'm black as a blackberry, and you don't have to ask me that. Why? The question that you should ask me is, Miss Luper, do you have any membership envelopes with you?" Now, I would be ashamed to be black riding in the front of the bus, and it was the NACP case that Thurgood Marshall argued at the Supreme Court that made it possible for you to ride anywhere on the bus. And we used to sing, "If you miss me from the back of the bus, don't you worry about me. Just come on up to the front of the bus, and I'll be sitting up there." And then the next verse was, "If you miss me from the front of the bus, don't worry about me, because I'll be driving that bus." And then we went on down. Now, if you're in any situation and you aren't a member of the NACP, shame on you. I do hope that next year, at the planners of the Martin Luther King parade, we'll plan the parade so those of us that live on the east side can really profit as a result of it. I would like to see the restaurants open on the east side. I would like to see people by the hundreds eating in the restaurants. I would like to see them buying pop and popcorn. I would like to see vendors on the streets. I would like to see business people participating wholeheartedly. But it's hard to participate when you march downtown to cold buildings where we counted on our way not over 34 whites. Now, the whites in Oklahoma City should be happy to participate in a Martin Luther King parade, but maybe they are busy doing something else, like what happened out in Nichols Hill this week. And I want to talk about Nichols Hills because that was one of the cities in Oklahoma County that refused to close their doors, their business doors, for Martin Luther King's birthday. Calvin, did you know Nichols Hill? Wonder what's going on in Nichols Hill. They refused to recognize Martin Luther King's birthday, and I would like to say we need to start working now in order that next year there will not be a city in the state of Oklahoma who does not recognize Martin Luther King's birthday.
Mom, you asked the right person that knows absolutely nothing about what's going on in Nichols Hills. That is not part of my running area, and I haven't been that way, and I haven't read the Nichols Hills paper, or do I listen to any of the Nichols Hills radio stations, because I
But
just
have
haven't
you
been
been
doing
out
it.
in Nichols Hill?
No, I
Did you
haven't.
have any business out in Nichols Hill? Well,
Not
I'm gonna tell you a
not
story
yet, but
about Nichols
well, Mom,
Hill.
don't tell me yet. But let's don't tell me yet, because we want to remind everyone to sit back, relax, and make sure that they have a fantastic Saturday by continuing to listen to the Clara Luper radio show, and to call that friend, call that neighbor, and invite them to be a part of today's show, because this is a special show, because you're doing it, and because the NAC peers from across this state and this nation are here helping us to get ready for the national NACP National Convention, the NACP state meetings, and most importantly of all, our NACP projects in our own home cities and communities across the state. So I know we have a lot to do before we
We
wonder
do
about
have a
what
lot to
happens in
do.
Nichols Hills,
But I
because
know
we're
one
wondering what's
thing.
going on
I
in
know
Oklahoma
I
City.
know in Nichols Hills they did not recognize Martin Luther King's birthday, and I do not like it. And all my friends out in Nichols Hill, prove yourself. What is a friend? You talking about, oh, I love black people, they work for me and everything. Do you love them enough to recognize Martin Luther King, who is bigger than any color, who is all American, who has changed the face of this nation? Well, you aren't recognizing Martin Luther King. Now, I received some pictures from France where a group of students was not only recognizing Martin Luther King, but they were writing poems and things about Martin Luther King Jr. We can't let that slide. Conscience is a funny thing. It rests, but all at once it pops up. Today's program is a very special program, and I told you that the NACP state meeting will be held at 2611 North Martin Luther King Avenue. I told you that. And I would like for you to join me in thanking Mrs. Gloria Matthews and Mr. Paul Matthews that opened their nursery and say they can have the meeting there. And I want you to just go there and I want you to see it. It is just beautiful. And I would like to publicly thank Mrs. Gloria Matthews. And as you know, last week she celebrated her birthday. And did she celebrate her birthday? She had a ball. But today we are seeing the benefits of having black-owned business. And nowhere else in town could we have gone free of charge and had an NACP meeting. Well, while you're at the NACP meeting and getting ready to go, remember you will have an opportunity to see Gates Barbershop, 2609 North Martin Luther King Avenue. I want you to see Mr. Gates. I want you to meet him because he is all Oklahoma City, and then even though he was born in Texas. When you go to Gates Barbershop, you know you're getting first class service. You know that. Yesterday I had the opportunity to go there and I met one of the most intelligent young men that I've ever seen, Terrell. And I want to congratulate Terrell. And I want to thank Terrell for teaching me because I had the opportunity to speak out to the federal transfer system out on South MacArthur, and they presented me a calculator that, oh, it's just out of sight. I didn't know how to operate it. And here's a young man who's in the seventh grade and goes to school in Edmond, Oklahoma, who took his time. Now he was getting a haircut, but he took time out and taught me something. And I want to thank you. And those of you that got any computer skill, feel free to teach somebody else because we need to know. This is Clara Luper, and I would like to thank Mr. Harold Mills. I would like to thank the warden and all of those fine people, including Shelley. Shelley, I can't think of her last name, but I want to thank all of you that were so kind to me and the warm reception you gave me at the transfer system. You told me that over 70,000 federal prisons are transferred every year out of Oklahoma, through Oklahoma City. And those of you that don't want to be transferred, stay out of trouble. That's all I say. Because that's some place out there. I will have to admit it. It is some place.
Mom, you know that is a state of the art facility that all of us taxpayers pay for. And that facility, even though it doesn't get a lot of publicity, it's almost as busy as Will Rogers Airport. And they have their own planes, different size planes, their own buses. And I guess it's a convenience for the federal prison system and the prison system. But it is a big business here in Oklahoma City and there at Will Rogers Airport.
They have over 300 employees out there. Kevin, I've never seen anything like it. And I
Well,
had some
I'm
pictures
glad that
made
you
with the
just visited.
warden.
I'm just glad that
Yeah,
you
I'm not going
visited
to
and
be
you came
transferred
right
out
on
there
back.
because I'm not going to be messing with
Yeah, and
that
thank
kind
you
of
for not
mess.
inviting me to go with you. But then
Okay,
we
well,
know that.
Kevin, I thought I didn't know. I thought maybe you were going out to Nichols Hills.
No,
And you, since you become so popular, I have requests for people to send for your group. And what's the name of your group? Or is it a duet? What's the
the
name of?
name of our group is the We Can't Singers, and Dean and I were sitting over there just a few minutes ago getting our little list together for those people who want who want to have a song sung to them this morning. And you know that is really great, Mom, because I've known that I had a career in singing, but I just didn't realize that it would be here on the Clara Luper Radio Show. I tell you, you listen on this show, and good things will happen. And but somebody that's been listening that wants to talk with you now is on the telephone. Young lady that we all know and love, and her birthday was not too long ago.
And who
No, her
is that,
birthday is
Calvin?
coming
Who is
up.
that, Calvin?
That's none other than one of the NACP, Oklahoma City NACP Youth Council advisors, the advisor of the year last year, I believe, the advisor that all of the youth council members love to work with because of the fact that she helps them in so many ways. She's also with the Miss Black Oklahoma pageant, and she's been with the judges,
Oh,
over the
that's Mrs.
judges for
Hunter.
years. So, Mom, let me make sure that we got Miss Hunter still on the line there, and we'll. Okay, do we have her? We do have her on. Mrs. Hunter, how are you doing this beautiful Saturday morning here in Oklahoma City?
Oh, Kevin, I'm just wonderful. I'm doing great. I'm just doing wonderful. And I was just listening to Mrs. Luper this morning, and she was talking about the meeting that they're having today. And I want to say hello to all the people in the radio audience that's listening to us today. And we want to thank them for tuning in to hear the Clara Luper radio program. But Mrs. Luper, I believe you did tell them that we are having a meeting. And but you didn't tell them who was here. At least you did tell them where they were from. And
Oh,
I think that's important because I don't think Oklahoma City realizes that we are having an important meeting, and it's not Oklahomians that's here.
oh, yeah, we have a training group that has come in from Louisiana. Dr. Cashmere is here. Mrs. Richardson from New Orleans, Louisiana. Mr. Roberts from Dallas, Texas. No, from Fort Worth. We have Deandra from the national office, and I don't know. They got to come up there and sing.
Well, that is true, and because when I was talking with him last night, to me the meeting is going to be really, really an inspiring, intellectual meeting. And
It's the person that's in charge of the meeting is the state president, Mr. Allen from Pecolia, Oklahoma.
well, I know that that is going to be a wonderful meeting because at his state meeting it was really electrifying. And if you left the way from that state meeting and didn't come up with some intellectual and educational ideas, you really didn't miss a treat or you weren't listening. So I can't help but think that I just really got to get out to this meeting and see what it's all about. And you said it's going to be,
It will start. It's in fact they have started registering now, and I want you to rush up there and do what you know how to do best.
well, and they are registered.
Right, registration is going on now at
Is it in the
Freedom's.
Freedom Center or is it in the a nursery?
Registration is in the nursery.
Well, fine. I just want the people to know where they are to go.
I don't mean to be personal, but have you been out in Nichols Hills lately?
Well, really, no, Ms. Luper. We haven't been
But
out
that's a city that's known for not recognizing Martin Luther King's birthday, and I'm terribly upset about them. But I do know. I better ask you. No, I'm not going to ask you that. I'm going to ask you later in the show. And in the meantime, I want to thank you for everything, and I'll see you at Freedom Center.
Well, okay, thank you. Tell Calvin, at least I read about Nichols Hill. I don't go out there, but I try to keep up with what's going on in Oklahoma City. So I read about Nichols Hill and all the other areas that we have in Oklahoma City. So
Oh,
I hope to see a number of you out at the meeting today.
okay,
And
and two, you know, we are still taking applications for the Miss Black Oklahoma City pageant, which will be held in Oklahoma City on March the 1st. We do have some beautiful young ladies, and if you have a daughter that you feel it got something on the ball, and even if you don't see it, we see it in it. So
I just think
call
if
us.
you have a daughter and she is interested in advancement and wanting to really get out and let people know what you're doing, because Mrs. Luper, so many girls have gotten so many good jobs coming through Mrs. Black, Oklahoma,
And
and
scholarships and what have you.
right, scholarships and
I just love to
so,
see the way they grow intellectually too. You
oh
know.
yes, right, right, and then the advancement they make, and then they will express when you see them on the street that, this has been the best thing of my life because it has helped me to understand myself, it helped me to meet the public, and it helped me to be able to articulate and tell the public what I like to do. And this is what I
Mrs.
like about them. So
Mrs. Hunter, will
yes,
you
so
thank Mrs. Gloria Matthews for allowing us to use that beautiful
why
nursery?
sure, I want to
I know
thank
you
her.
just love her to death.
Why sure, I'm sorry I didn't make it to her birthday party too because they tell me it was really, really great and exciting.
Oh, it was
And I
not.
want to tell her happy birthday on her because hers is January the 18th and mine is February the 18th. So
Well,
we couldn't.
are you going to get Calvin and his group? What's the name of that group? The
Calvin, but that singing group of Calvin,
Yes,
Yes, that's
that's the
Calvin
one.
and Dean. We can't singers.
the We Can't
Right,
Sing.
right, right. Because that's the one. Because they asked me about coming to choir rehearsal, and I told our organist, I said, "Now when I come, don't you worry about what key I sing in, because the key that I sing in is not on your piano." So I think this is why he just let me come to choir rehearsal and he sing, because he knows.
Well, our group doesn't have
So
that problem, Mrs. Hunter. I want you to know that we can sing in any key at any time, and only here on the Clara Luper Radio Show. Just so far, we may start taking engagements a little later on, but that depends on what our manager and our promoter says later. But
well,
we have
that's right. If you can
so.
find to a key, then
Well,
then
no,
that's not my
we'll go to any
that's not
key
my
at
group.
any time.
Okay, Calvin, and thanks a
Okay.
lot.
Oh,
Thank you
thank
so
you.
All
much
right,
for calling, Mrs.
and,
Hunter.
and
Uh,
bye now.
Now, again, the registration will be at over at the Remington Park Nursery, which is next door to the Freedom Center, right?
that's exactly right,
Then
Calvin.
the dinner and the some more comradeship and a little, as Shelley calls it, networking will go on at the Freedom Center. That's
Yeah,
correct.
that's where they will eat, and they will eat at 11:45, and we have
Well,
prepared
I
a
know that they're
delicious
there
meal.
now and they're getting ready. The registrars are there and they're over there at Mrs. Matthews' daycare center, one of the daycare centers that she has.
Oh, yeah, that's
She
right.
was so gracious enough to allow the NACP Youth Council and his members and his advisors to use it for this exciting event that I know is going to be very beneficial not only to the NACPers but to all of Oklahoma City. And say we invite you to come by and you can participate in the meeting by coming by and just during the lunch hour getting to meet some of the people representatives from different parts of the state and the nation. And you too seeing Freedom Center and enjoying what all we have done together.
Yes, they will be able to visit the Black History Monument and see the Black History Wall. Many of them will want to purchase a book, one of the greatest that has been written. It was written by Clara Luper, Facts About the Black History Monument and Wall. You can purchase that book today at Freedom Center, and I do appreciate it, and I appreciate those of you that continue to support me. This part of our program is brought to you by Hometown, 2001 Northeast 23rd Street. And Danny and all the groups, so you can come in from 7 to 7. They are open all night long. Dr. A.L. Dial extends his sincere thanks and appreciation to the NACP. As you know, he's a life member of the NACP. His office is located at 934 Northeast 8th Street. His telephone number is 235-0536, 934 Northeast 8th Street. Mrs. Deborah Jackson, a member of the NACP and one of our outstanding business leaders in Oklahoma City, she is a owner and CEO of Passion Home Healthcare, located at 3838 Northwest 36th Street. The telephone number is 943-5779. Now, Mrs. Jackson is very proud to announce that she has a staff of trained health care professionals that care for the clients in the homes, performing duties such as dressing changes, such as all kind of maintenance care, injections, lab specimen draws, and the list goes on and on. The nurses, the professional nurses, cordially and carefully examine the patients and take their blood count and what have you. This home care was formed out of the concern for patients and their families in our community, seeing to it that they would get the needed services that should have been provided for them on a consistent basis. They're on call 24 hours a day, 7 days a week, and you may refer people to them. Once again, let me give you that telephone number, 943-5779. They also have Give Me a Free Hand, 3838 Northwest 36th Street here in Oklahoma City, Oklahoma. What a day. What an exciting day. Gideon 300 store. African clothes, specializing in African clothes, specializing in the beauty of Africa. African arts and crafts, African groceries, yum, 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 yum. Located at 6006 Southwestern, that's Southwest to 59th and Western, in Oklahoma City, Oklahoma. They will be open, and they will open today at exactly 10 a.m., Monday through Saturday, and on Saturdays they are open to 9 p.m. Gideon 300 store. Okay, I want you to remember that because you know what happened in Gideon. Gideon 300 store, 6006 Southwestern, Oklahoma City, Oklahoma. Calvin say if you want him to sing happy birthday, if this is your birthday today, call him and they can do it. Now you better get it while it's free because they tell me they're gonna start charging to sing happy birthday to everybody. So you call me here at 672-1220. Well, the city council race is coming up. It's gonna be a hot one. Charles Sumner has announced that he's going to run against Willard Johnson. Now let's see. That's going to be some race. Who else is going to run? Why don't you call me out here and tell me all of you that's going to run for city council? And speaking of city council, I never shall forget Dr. A.L. Dow. And I was talking about that yesterday when he was a city councilman. When black people couldn't move on the northwest side of town, he stood up by himself. He would go to meetings and refuse to sit down. Dr. Dow say, I'm going to stand up for my people. And he did. And he had already stood up for them in that Dow case. And now everybody's real excited. Well, in NACP, we told you what was going to happen. We spoke out against segregated schools. And you all cried out for them. Well, you got them. And boy, boy, boy. When I think of Johnson Shardina's daycare, I think about the games that are played there. I think about the educational opportunities. And I think about that delicious food, breakfast, lunch, and snack that's served. They are open 7 a.m. to 7 p.m. And they have qualified teachers, teachers that are trained. And they are now taking applications. You may call Johnson Shardinas at 424-4656 or 427-5274. And if you want your child to improve, and that's really where it starts. Everything I've ever learned, some children say they learned in nursery. And it's really encouraging to go around with Mrs. Matthews and see young people say, Miss Matthews, you gave me my start. This is the Clara Luper Radio Show, and I ask you to join us in seeing to it that next year, even Choctaw, Oklahoma, where the chief of police come from, we'll celebrate Martin Luther King's birthday. Now, you can't tell me and grin in my face and tell me how much you love me and won't even recognize Martin Luther King's birthday. But I don't know. Maybe you have the answers. I don't know. I want you to get your pencils and paper out because I want to invite you to something. You know, those of you in Oklahoma City, we owe so much. And I'm talking about we as a family, whether I'm talking about my personal family, the NACP family, the Miss Black family, the Dungy family, the John Marshall family. We owe you so much. We are at a point in history now where we can change the course of history. And we can change that course by promoting our people. Now, we don't have the money to advertise like some of the big companies, but we can tell you to show your love for your people by supporting them, by going into their businesses, by helping them. This is the Clara Luper Radio Show, and I would like to invite you to a celebration reception that's given in honor of Shelley Luper, your little girl that you helped in kindergarten and elementary school, in middle school, in high school, in college, and since she's been out. And we're going to show her that we really know how to do things. We have a group of people that say, well, what we are going to do, we're going to show Shelley Luper how much we appreciate her, how much we want the public to see what can happen to our young people. And Shelley has climbed and climbed and worked hard, and we do appreciate it. Now, there will be a special celebration sponsored by Mrs., and I'm not going to say Mrs., Esther Swain, Gloria Matthews, Joyce Henderson, Connie Bird, Letty Ruth Hunter, Leola Ford, Maxine Stale, Willie, Wilma Ray, Oscar Ray. Oh yes, and certainly I'ma be in on it. Nancy Davis, Bosie Walker, and I hope I haven't left out anyone. Elnora Douglas. Oh, we'll be celebrating, and we invite you to join us in celebrating Shelley Luper as a manager trainee, the first one of her race, and out of the Oklahoma, Nebraska, and Kansas. They only have three and only one in Oklahoma. We ask you to join us on February 22nd from exactly 2 o'clock to 6. Miss Joyce Drew and Mr. R. Miller are also joining us at that occasion. I want you to be there. That's at 7:30 Britton Road. Calvin, are you going out to help us celebrate?
Of course, Mom. I'm always game for celebrations, especially celebrations that we're getting ready to have. Now, this one you're talking about is the celebration of Shelley with the Allstate.
Yes,
All
Shelley is
right.
with a manager trainee, and she's the Jackie Robinson of that particular trade.
I'm
And
looking forward to that in more ways than one because Shelley is it's such an exciting time in Shelley's life. I just enjoy talking with her and finding out what she's getting ready to do next. And I invite all of you to continue to listen to the Clara Luper Radio Show, and so we can kind of keep up with the
well,
legacy,
she's
the developing legacy of
Shelley,
Shelley,
yeah,
of
she will
Shelley
be there.
Luper.
She's a national board member,
Right.
but we will be celebrating her, and you will have something that's really, really exciting. And incidentally, Shelley has been selected to give out the trophies at the Image
Oh,
Award.
I was
So,
saving that. That's what I wanted to tell
well, I
everybody.
told it
But
now.
it's getting close to the half hour, and I want to remind everyone that you are listening to the Clara Luper Radio Show here on KTLV. And I got a little song I want to play just a little bit over while we kind of get take care of a little technical work here. But it's a song that I'm certain because I know that you like nice songs, and we have a great one here.
Okay,
It's
what's that
called
song?
"It's in God's Hands Now."
It's in God's hands
It's
now.
in God's
Well,
hands
out
now.
in Nichols Hill is in the jury's hand too. OJ's case, it's in the jury's hand. Rodman's case, it's in the NBA's hand. Okay, let's have it. Sydney did not recognize Martin Luther King's birthday. Choctaw did not recognize Martin Luther King's birthday. El Reno, Oklahoma did not recognize Martin Luther King's birthday. Harrow, Oklahoma, Newcastle, Blanchard, Chandler, Oklahoma, Nichols Hill, The city hall was open on Martin Luther King's birthday. Maybe they were busy doing something else. War Acres, Yukon, Nakoma Park, Tecumseh, and Valley Brook. Now, I don't make the news, I just report it. And let me tell you something before we go into our sports reporter. Did you know that in Oklahoma City, there's a business that you've got to visit? You've got to visit this business because it's a furniture discount store. It's a discount carpet and furniture. They give a commission off. They have name brand discount prices, complete flooring located at 501 Northwest 23rd, which is 23rd and Walker, owned by a black man, Vernon McVeigh. They have custom designed furniture that will match anything in your living room. They have quality mattresses, and you can get mattresses at a price that you won't believe until you see it. But they specialize in commercial jobs, carpeting churches, carpeting businesses, and will give you a discount. Now, they have done this all over Texas, Oklahoma, and New Mexico. The regular $30 a square yard carpet every day you can get for $19.95 with the carpet, the pad, and the labor included. They have carpet as low as $4.99 a square yard. And you can get that carpet installed $8.99, and this includes labor. I want you to go to the Discount Carpet and Furniture Company. In fact, I know Mr. Vernon McVeigh and some of his people will come by today. They are proud of the NACP that led a movement where blacks could move on that side of town. I'm all ready now for my sports reporter. Bryant? Hello? Okay, well, I
Hello?
have. Hello?
Yes, how you doing?
Okay, Bryant, the people are waiting on you up the Freedom Center. They want to see our handsome vice president. Give me the sports.
Hello, everyone out there in Radio Land. This is Brandon Bryant, bringing you the Saturday morning sports page. In the NBA, Tim Hardaway scored two three-pointers in the final 2 minutes as the Heat snapped the Hawks' 10-game winning streak by beating them 94-91. Glenn Rice scored 42 points, including 19 in the final quarter, as Charlotte beat Houston 114 to 108. The Magic won for the fifth time in 6 games. They defeated the Bullets 93 to 88. Jordan scored 51 points, the most by any person this season, as he led the Bulls to a 88 to 87 victory over the Knicks. In the Big 12, OSU put a 73 to 54 beating on UNLV. OU defeated Baylor 84 to 67. Iowa State stomped Colorado 70 to 45, and Texas Tech beat Kansas State 73 to 64. In the top 25, number 7 Maryland defeated Pennsylvania 103 to 73. Number 9 Cincinnati beat North Carolina Charlotte 77 to 67. Number 10 Duke whooped North Carolina State 70 to 55. 13th ranked Michigan lost to number 21 Indiana 70 to 72, and 18th ranked Colorado defeated Baylor 74 to 70. In men's Division II basketball, Oklahoma Baptist is ranked number 1, and in NAIA Women's Division I, Southern Nazarene is ranked number 1 also. In high school boys basketball, Putnam City defeated Midwest City 44 to 28. Norman defeated Moore 55 to 46. John Marshall beat Millwood 56 to 54. Classen beat St. Mary 78 to 71. Southeast got their first win of the season as they beat Grant 60 to 56. Douglas put a whooping on Northwest. They beat them 82 to 41. They whooped them by their own score. And Putnam North defeated Edmond Santa Fe 73 to 64. In high school girls basketball, Northwest beat Douglas 51 to 45. Midwest City defeated Putnam City 50 to 45 in overtime. Millwood beat John Marshall 59 to 34. Jones blew out Crooked Oak 60 to 21, and Edmond North defeated Putnam West 50 to 42. There wasn't any games in the NFL because there wasn't any to be played. But this Sunday, the Green Bay Packers are expected to beat the New England Patriots by 14 points in the Super Bowl. In other sports news, Dennis Rodman is on an 11-game suspension, and he has to undergo league counseling. He also has to pay the cameraman that he kicked $200,000. And once again, this is Brandon Bryant bringing you your Saturday morning sports page on the Clara Luper Radio Show.
Freedom Center at 10:15. This is a Clara Luper radio show, and this is a show that you will be talking about for a long time because we're going to give you something to talk about. You have some pictures at your home that you would like to preserve, and certainly I can tell you exactly how to do it. And stay tuned to the Clara Luper radio show. Now, if you want the Can't Singers to sing happy birthday to you better call out here 672-1222. Yesterday, Oklahoma City said goodbye. And Oklahoma City school system said goodbye to a young lady that has spent 22 years as a secretary at Rogers Middle School in Spencer, Oklahoma. Hazel Macaulay Joseph. Services were rendered at the Loving St. James Baptist Church with Reverend W.B. Parker, the pastor, presiding and who did the eulogy. We shall always remember Hazel Beatrice Macaulay by her beautiful smile and by her understanding that life is just a journey, and she did a terrific job on her journey. This is the Clara Luper radio show. Now, once again, those of you that want some discount carpet and furniture, go to 501 Northwest 23rd Street, 6006 South, 501 Northwest 23rd Street. Or you may call. Why call? Just go on down there and look it over. Now, I'm receiving all kind of calls out here, and I don't make the news, and I don't want you calling talking about what I should do. I tell you what you should do. You should talk. I'm going to ask you a question, and now I'm going to read what was in the Daily Oklahoman. And you have to be careful what you say because somebody can sue you. Now, I want you to understand that Clara Luper didn't say this. I'm just reading. I don't make the news. I'm just here reporting the news so you will have a better understanding of the news. And if you don't like what I say, don't get me. Go out there and grab Mr. Gaylord because it was in his paper. They say out in Nichols Hills, a little old town that will not recognize Martin Luther King's birthday, had recognized legalized gambling, according to Mr. Poe. Mr. Poe had stated that the state and federal law authorities raided his place in 1984, and no charges arose from that raid. Now, that's what Mr. Poe said. Now, Mr. Poe is on trial for legalized gambling. And this is an aristocratic kind of gambling known as blackjack gambling. Now, down in Hoffman, Oklahoma, we played games with jacks. Oh, we used to get together and, boy, we would play jacks out of sight. But there was no gambling to it. We would just see who could pick up the most jacks. You throw a ball up and then you pick up jacks. But out in Nichols Hills, a city where they do not recognize, and they did not recognize Martin Luther King's birthday, and I can hardly wait to go back out there and ask them again. Recognize Martin Luther King's birthday, but they evidently had recognized gambling out there. Maybe gambling is more important to them than Martin Luther King's birthday. Now, this is not a surprising story because we know that things go on in Oklahoma City. People gamble. But we realize that. But this story in Nichols Hill knocked us clear off of our feet. Let me read. It was reported, according to the Daily Oklahoman, don't take my word for it, you get the paper and read it yourself. Now, Porter testified that he believed now this is Porter, this is Poe's lawyer, he didn't believe that the gambling that he was doing in the back of his house and in his back was illegal. Now, he didn't believe it. But he said the state and local officials believed it. Now, I hope and I know I'm quoting it right because he had been doing it for years. He had been operating this business. And as a result of operating this business, that put him in good financial shape. He said that he was so confident that his business was legal that two of his children joined the business. Now I'm talking about Tracy Poe. He said complete. He had a business complete with security cameras to examine would-be customers that operated in a converted garage behind his residence at 1804 Guilford Lane. He was asked, were you about to put your children in harm's way? He said, no. He's on trial now on a felony charge of running an illegal gambling business in Nichols Hills. Nichols Hills, where they refused to recognize Martin Luther King's birthday. Now, this is a shocker, ladies and gentlemen. And this is the kind of story we hate to report, but we've got to be fair. Because down in Harlem we sang a song. Is it fair for Brother Rabbit to go to wear clothes and Brother Possum to go naked? No, there are clothes for Brother Rabbit and there are clothes for Brother Possum too. But this is a shocker. Porter and Poe met weekly to discuss what bills, such as utility bills and buying playing cards, would be paid from the Porter Trust. And he had a trust that totaled about $150,000 a year. Nonetheless, Porter testified that he believed the trust and his activities were legal. He knew that it was funded with gambling profits, but an attorney had advised him the blackjack business was legal. Now, they didn't tell us what attorney advised him, but in other developments Thursday, the Reverend A. Glenn Woodbury, pastor of Greater Mount Olive Baptist Church, did not testify. I want to make that clear. Reverend A. Glenn Woodbury, according to the paper, did not testify. But attorneys in the case outlined what his testimony would have been if he had taken the stand. Assistant United States Attorney Mary Smith told jurors that Woodbury, that's Reverend A. Glenn Woodbury, would have testified that he occasionally gambled at polls from the fall of 1993 through February of 1996. Now, according to Mary Smith, Reverend A. Glenn Woodbury, the pastor of the Greater Mount Olive Baptist Church, wrote at least 19 checks totaling $12,890 to buy gambling chips, according to Assistant United States Attorney Mary Smith. Now, they had tried to contact Reverend Woodbury at his home, but he declined comment. Now, the question is, do you think it's illegal to play blackjack? Would you like to have your pastor playing blackjack out in Nichols Hills where they do not recognize Martin Luther King's birthday? Well, they say money doesn't talk, it screams. But maybe we aren't paying our preachers enough in Oklahoma. Maybe in Oklahoma City. Hey, this is a tragedy when you pick up a paper and find out that a minister is associated with gambling. But once again, down in Harlem, they say that you can't gamble. They kick you out of church. They'll kick you out of church in a minute down in Harlem for gambling. But I don't know what they will do in Oklahoma City. We come from different backgrounds and different cultures. And I told you we played jack. We didn't play blackjack. In fact, somebody has called out here and told me to play blackjack. You had to hit 21. I don't know nothing about hitting 21, but I know that article hit us like a tornado. It quaked us like an earthquake. I don't know what would happen. What would happen? And wonder who else's pictures are out there. They say they have pictures of people that gambled out there. Wouldn't it be surprising, Calvin, if we got your picture out there playing blackjack? Do you know how to play blackjack?
Yes, I do.
Okay, have you been out in Nichols Hills playing blackjack?
I refuse to say.
You refuse to say,
Because I don't, I mean, this is not the time for me to say.
this is not the time for you to say it.
But
Because
more importantly than that, when I did play blackjack, when I do play blackjack,
Do
It's
you have
it's
a jack with blacks on it? A blackjack?
yes, there's a blackjack in my card deck, and I
Oh,
do
you
know
have
how
to
to do
hit
that.
21.
Yes, you do. And blackjack is a fun game, and it can be profitable and it can be fun, and I enjoy playing it occasionally, and I do play it, but I'm not going to tell you where. I'm not going to tell you when,
I want to ask
and
you
I
a
don't
question I
have.
want to answer. Yes or no? Do you play blackjack out in Nichols Hills?
No.
Okay, you are.
Okay.
I'm sure you have to have more than 50 cents to play blackjack out there. I
Well,
want
I
you to
I
call
didn't say
me.
what I
I want to
possibly.
see what the people think. 67. What's my telephone number? 672-1220.
That's
What
if
do
that's
you?
if they're at home. They can call on their mobile phone by calling star 1220.
Well, Calvin, do you think the people in Oklahoma City? How do the people feel? That's what I want to know.
Well, I don't know. We've been trying to get our finger on the pulse a little better, but a lot of people are disappointed, and a lot of people are shocked and surprised. But then the overall reaction, I think, will still be coming out during the rest of the week when the rest of the story comes out. And the operations of Brother Poe have been well known. I mean, he's a well known personality in Oklahoma City, and evidently, I didn't know he was in Nichols Hills, but he's a well known personality no matter where he is. And he's been able to maintain doing what he's doing. So, whatever goes on with Mr. Poe just goes on with Mr. Poe.
Do you think it's all right for preachers to gamble? That's what I want to know, and that's what I want to know from the public. Call me at 672-1220 if you're not afraid to, because I want to know how you feel about it. But I'm telling you one thing, this was a shock. Oh, Nichols Hills, where they will not recognize Martin Luther King's birthday. I think that's just awful. And yet they have allowed gambling to go out there, but they will not recognize Martin Luther King's birthday. This is the Clara Luper Radio Show, and don't forget the NACP will be meeting. And in fact, they are registering, and they will start at 10 o'clock exactly. Mr. Richard Allen will be there, Mr. Roosevelt Milton, Mrs. Richardson from New Orleans, Louisiana, Mr. Roberts from Texas, from Fort Worth, and that beautiful young NACP worker out of Baltimore, and Miss Thais Ray will be there to greet her people. Let the people speak. What do you think? Now, I want to get a lot of people's thoughts, so if you call me, don't talk to me too long. Just tell me what you think about it. Let me know exactly how you feel about it. Let me know. 672-1220. Okay. Now, I want you to understand that I'm not advocating gambling. I'll let you know that in front. Hello? Okay, you're afraid? I would be afraid too if I were you, but I'm not scared of nothing. I'm not even scared of snakes. I have a friend that's afraid of frogs, but I'm not afraid. And somebody say, Claire, you shouldn't talk about the preachers. I'm not talking about the preachers. I just read an article from the newspaper. We've had all kind of stories on preachers. We had a preacher in Oklahoma City for you that are visiting us to leave his pulpit and become involved in a little scuffle. We have had preachers that kick doors down, and boy, but when the preachers make news, they are making the news. 672-1220. Are you afraid to speak? Are you afraid? Well, I'm not afraid, because if a preacher does wrong, he is just wrong. And I would like for Reverend Woodbury to call us and tell us it's not true. A mistake has been made. Call us. 672-1220. I would like for you to call us and tell us that paper was not telling the truth about your pastor, because certainly if he was my pastor, I sure would do it. Hello?
Right, Mom. What we have will be the call on line 2, Dean. Young lady was calling in reference to the supposedly controversy in Nichols Hills, where they don't celebrate the Martin Luther King Day. They may start celebrating. I
Now,
don't know.
I'm not talking about Martin Luther
You're
King.
not
Now,
talking
I'm
about Martin
talking
Luther
about
King?
whether you believe it. Now, I report on my pastor, and certainly I sure report on yours. And if you don't like it, then do something about it. Don't get on me. Because if
But
I were a member of that church, I'd go out there and grab those records and shoot. No,
but we have a caller that's ready
okay,
to
ready
state
to
their opinion.
talk. Okay, hello?
Yes, I believe that it's not right for a minister to be caught gambling, because we're supposed to be in the world but not of the world. We are the light of the world, and we should be showing, setting examples for the world and not conform to the world.
Okay, well, thank you. You don't have to tell us your name, so you don't believe that ministers should gamble.
That's right.
Well, thank you so very kindly. Call 672-1220. I have 8 more minutes, and we want to hear from you.
Well, Mom, we have one of our star reporters that's waiting to talk to
Is
give
it
his report, and
is Young on the line?
that's none
Oh,
other than George Young on
let's go,
line
George.
one, and I know George has a great report.
Okay, George.
Yes, good morning, Miss
Good
Luper.
morning.
First of all, I just want to wish my mom, Barbara Potts, a happy birthday.
Oh, you don't want the birthday singers to sing to?
Oh, well, yeah, that's fine.
Okay. Go on and finish your report.
Okay. Now, Miss Luper, you know it's a shame that we as so-called intelligent human beings, but not only in the city of Oklahoma City, state, and the so-called free nation, would ignore a national holiday such as that of Martin Luther King. It was so disappointing to know that so many towns in the state of Oklahoma does not recognize Martin Luther King's birthday. I understand that Oklahoma is in what is referred to in location-wise as the Bible Belt, but yet couldn't honor the birthday of someone that read the Bible and patterned his life in a way that God wanted him to. I was disappointed also to know that some of the schools, such as Midwest City schools, held school on the day that Martin Luther King was honored. How dare them? But most of all, I was disappointed that some of my African American teachers, religious leaders, and peers that were off on their day and had the opportunity to honor Martin Luther King with their presence at the ceremony at Calvary Baptist Church, march in the parade, nor attend the parade, and stayed at home in bed as if it was a day of leisure. We as black people, if nobody else shows up, we should show up. I'm only 13 years old, and I never had the chance to see Martin Luther King in action. But I believe in his spirit and in his dream, and as long as I, George Young Jr., shall live, I will honor the life and legacy of Dr. Martin Luther King Jr. Thank you.
Well, thank you so very kindly. You young people, these young people have their opinions, and we are giving it to you. This is the Clara Luper Radio Show, and I'm talking to you. I'm giving you an opportunity to talk. And I'm also telling you that you can get those pictures made into a video with Nathaniel Cobb. You can get it done, and that's no joke. Okay, we will let the people speak if you aren't scared. One thing about it, you don't leave here and say what Clara Luper said. Clara Luper read it out the newspaper, and I told you as plain as I could talk that Dr. that the paper stated, not Clara Luper, that one of the most outstanding ministers in Oklahoma City had been gambling, and that money, how much money? Let's see. $12,890. That sure is a lot of money. But wonder how much did he win, or did he win anything? How do you win in playing blackjack, Calvin?
Well, Mom, you win by hitting 21 or
Hitting
trying not
21.
to get busted.
Okay, I try not to get
But
busted.
what we have is a caller here on line 2.
Okay,
and
let's
then
hear from that caller.
we'll
Hello?
call on line 2 that we're going to talk with in just a second here.
Line 2 hung up, Calvin.
Okay, line 2. If you're scared to call and talk, be scared. That's a good way to do. Be scared. Just talk about some
Okay.
people. And don't talk about others. But I tell you, God works in mysterious ways, his wonders to perform. And if it's fair to talk about one, it's fair to talk about another one.
Well, we're warming up our voices, Mom, because we're running out
Oh,
of
you're
time.
scared. People
No,
scared
we
to
don't.
talk. Now, it's a fact. Now, don't jump on me. Jump on Mr.
Okay,
Gaylord. Or
let's
jump
try
on,
this one.
I
Good-
want to hear from Reverend Woodbury. That's the one I'd love to hear from. Hello?
Hello,
Yes.
this is Evangelist Jameson,
Yes.
and I think it's a shame for the preacher to take the members' money and go to Nichols Hill and gamble. He needs to be saved, number one,
Well, thank you so very kindly.
and I don't agree with it. God bless you.
Yeah, thank you. And you got a lot of rich blacks at Mount Olive.
Okay, well,
Okay. Hello?
we have one more call, and then
One more call,
then we'll be
yeah,
moving
okay.
right along.
Hello?
Hello, Miss Luper.
Yes.
Yeah, I'm from Georgia, born and raised in Georgia, and not only Nichols Hill is making a great mistake, but also Oklahoma City, period.
Okay.
And Dale City and Middale School, they were closed, but I kept my kids out to recognize a great hero of our time and my time. And about that stuff that happened in Nichols Hill, I'm a pastor at Oklahoma City. I think it's wrong, and I think we need to take a better look at it and see what can we do to help our
You
brothers.
haven't been out in Nichols Hill playing blackjack?
No, no. Once you become in Christ, you don't want to play no blackjack and anointed with the Holy Spirit. What you going to play blackjack for? God give you everything. He say, he the color of 1,000 hills, the silver and gold is here. What you need to do that for?
Well, it'd be exciting to take a chance.
Nah, nah. I want to take a chance with God, not no blackjack or nothing else. But you're one point that I have admired you for doing and standing up for is Martin Luther King, because that for our children, children, if we don't never do nothing in this world, we need that to happen in this city, not only this part of the state, but any part of the state, that a man have did what he have done for us.
Well, thank you so very kindly, and thank God you don't play blackjack. Wonder why do they call it blackjack? It ought to be white jack.
Well, you
That'd
don't
be
have
a
any
good
white
name.
jacks
Calvin,
in the
somebody
card
want
there.
you all to
Well,
sing happy birthday.
well, you know-
The Can't Singers are going to sing.
Well, we're warming up and we're getting ready to.
Well, we'll finish next week with you here.
All right. Thank you,
Okay.
and may God bless you and continue to do a great work have you been doing.
Okay, when you're wrong, you're just wrong. If you're
Yeah,
wrong,
that's
you're
right.
just wrong. Okay,
Well, Ma,
what
we're
happened
ready.
to the singers?
The singers are ready. I
The
mean,
singers
we
are
got
ready to
we have a
sing Happy
complicated way
Birthday.
of doing things. But what we're going to do this morning is we're going to dedicate this song to a young man who's been dynamic in this community for the past, I believe, 46
A
years.
blackjack player.
I don't know what his games are. Don't warm up yet, D. But what we know is that his birthday is today, and we want to wish this young man a very happy birthday.
Okay.
Johnny Hill, this song goes out to you. Are you ready, Johnny?
Okay, let's go.
Ready? Me. Happy birthday to you. Happy birthday to you. Happy birthday
to
Johnny.
Johnny.
Happy
birthday
to
Oh,
you.
no, okay, cut it. This is Clara Luper.
Kelvin,
saying,
get off my
the Cane
foot.
Singers. Cane Singers. The Cane Singers have proven it beyond the shadow of a doubt. This is a Clara Luper radio show, and the NACP state meeting will be held, and it's being held now at Freedom Center. Come on up, be sure and park in the parking lot of the nursery. This is Clara Luper saying that if you're playing blackjack, you better be playing some whitejack. Congratulations to Jocelyn Brown, who was saluted for her leadership as a businesswoman. This is Clara Luper saying, whatever you do, don't go out and look here playing no blackjack if you don't want to make your papers. Bye-bye.
The program you've just heard was a paid program. The views and opinions expressed and products endorsed are not necessarily those of KTLV, its staff, or management.